with Fun Stamper's Journey, coach number 365. Today I'm coming to you not from home, but from Orlando, Florida. So I don't have quite everything with me, but I have enough to show you how to do this little card right here. Several ladies have asked me, okay, when you make the AT trading cards, what in the world do you do with them? So today I'm going to show you how I make the card and then how I put it onto a card. The products that we're going to use today, a lot of them come from our new catalog, Spring into Summer. Now I say that because all the stamp sets do, but our pan pastels, of course, come from our big catalog, and the two colors from Party Pop that we will use today will be Beach Breeze and Beach Ball. But as you know, in our big catalog, which is good yet until the end of June, our new catalog goes live July 1, you can see that we have 4 complete sets besides our clear blender, our gold, and our silver. And these are all in our pan pastel lines. We're going to use the 2 blues today. The cardstock that we're using today is whipped cream, and as you can tell, I'm out. And so whipped cream has been ordered already, but right now I'm using just some scraps that I have. Then we're also going to be using our beach ball and our pool play. So these are the cardstocks that we will be using today. The stamp sets that we will use will be the new Snappy Birthday, which as you can tell are our little crabs, along with its die. And then we will also be using our background stamp, Catching Waves. This we will use with our clear pigment ink, and then we will emboss it. We will also use today our rich coral ink, our white embossing powder, along with our brand new 2 daubers that we now have. And our daubers, as you can tell, come in 2 different sizes. They come with each dauber 4 of our pads, but then you can buy our pads separate. And this is really neat because you can do a lot of things, not only with ink, but with the pan pastels, and I'll show you that today. So, okay, crafters, the first thing that we're going to do is make our trading card. And this is going to be the front of our card, and the stamp that we're using for this one is, of course, Catching Waves. Now, Catching Waves, I've just laid it down because remember, I'm not at home, so I'm doing this from Orlando, Florida, so I don't have everything quite with me. But I do have a lot of it, so I decided I would make the video today. So what I am doing is putting on our clear pigment ink onto my stamp that I've laid down. I'm going to take my pool play and lay it on top of my stamp where I want it. Then I'm going to take my fingers and rub over it so that my ink will be transferred to my card base. And this is for the trading card now. This is going to be the very front of my trading card. So now I've done that, so it's all adhered. So I'm going to carefully lift it up. And as you can see, I have the ink transferred to my card. So I'm going to lay it down. I'm taking my small dauber now. I like it because we have 2 sizes, but because this is the AT trading card, I'm going to do the small dauber. And I'm going to begin by using my lighter pan pastel. So I'm simply taking my dauber and going over my pastel, and as you can see, it's picking up my ink, or the pigment ink, the dry one. I stamp it off just a little bit. Now I'm going to start at the top and swirl it down. As you can tell, you can see it now because, of course, my ink is picking up my color. Right, so now I want to change colors. I want my darker one at the bottom. So I'm going to peel off that one and put on the other dauber. And now I'm going over to my darker blue, picking it up. And again, I'm stamping a little off. This time I'm going to start at the bottom. And as you can tell, it is much darker. And I'm going to work it up, a little bit up. So there that is. So now I have my 2 blues over top of my clear pigment ink. So now this one, I'm going to turn it over, and it's going to get flat down onto my darker blue here, and I'm using our tearable tape, the one you can rip. And I'm doing this one flat down because later on everything will get popped up. So peeling off the backing of my tape, and centering it on so there's part of the trading card. Now, I will tell you the crab that I did was from the Snappy birthday one, but I've already cut him out ahead of time. I used the rich coral to stamp him, and then I used his die out of the Snappy birthday die set to cut him out. So what I'm going to do with him is simply turn him over, and on the back I'm going to use 2 of our little foam dots. And I'm going to put him on about right there. Now, I'm taking a piece of scrap paper, and I have the words from that same Snappy set that says Snappy Birthday, and with the rich coral, I am going to stamp it right there on my white. Now for this particular one, there is no die. So what I'm doing is I'm simply using my Pro scissors, and I'm going to cut it out in the shape of a rectangle. And then with this one, I'm going to turn it over, and again I will put 2 of our little foam squares on the back, and put it up in the top corner. So there's my trading card. Now that I'm done with it, I need to make the base for my card, and the first thing that I'm going to do is take a piece of my pool play, and on this one I'm going to emboss my waves. So I am going to lay it down with my waves, take my clear ink. Now I want to get a good inking with this one because I'm going to use the whole 4 by 5 1/4 piece of cardstock. Lay it down. Again, take my fingers and rub over the back of it so that I get a very good inking on the front of it. And this one I'm going to emboss with our white embossing powder. As you can see, it may be hard to see in the camera, but you can see the color if you were here. So I'm laying it down, and now I'm going to sprinkle on my Journey white embossing powder. I love our white embossing powder because you can do a lot with it. You can emboss with it, obviously, but then you can also go ahead and color it with our silks or our re-inkers so that you can make your embossing powder any color that you want. Okay, put the rest of this. And as you can tell, being that I'm not home, I'm using some used paper that I have. And then using our heat gun, and it's going to make some noise, I will heat set it. Remember, when you heat set something, you'll see it change. It looks grainy when you first put any of your embossing powder on, but then it will take on the color and get bright and shiny as you actually heat set it. So you can actually see where you're going. Remember, your heat gun, the longer you use it, it's getting real hot, so you want to make sure that you keep your fingers away from it so that you do not get burned with it. Okay, so there's that one completely embossed and ready to be used. Okay, crafters, this one that I did, you can tell I put no color behind it. I simply went ahead and stamped it with the stamp using the clear pigment, and then I used the embossing powder. Now, I want to do another technique to show you the difference between doing one like this and putting on first some of our pan pastels. And again, I'm using the same two blues that I used on my trading card part, but now what I'm doing is I'm putting it on to begin with onto my cardstock. So I'm going on first of all with my lighter blue, and I think I need just a little bit more, so pick it up. And I'm going all the way down with the lighter blue. Now I'm going to peel off that one and put on my darker dauber tab. Pick up some of the darker blue and start going over my card base again. And you can begin to see now the difference in the color on my card base. So you can see a difference right now between the two. All right, so now what I'm going to do is go ahead and I am going to emboss this one. So, pan pastels out of the way. Lay my card base down. I want the lighter at the top. Ink up my stamp again with my clear pigment ink, making sure that I have it well inked. Taking it and turning it over, laying it down, and again rubbing over the back of it. Making sure that I have a good inking all over the front of it. Lift it up. Now apply my white embossing powder all over it. Okay, so as you can tell now, my white powder is on it. Move this out of my way. And now I'm ready to heat set. As you can tell, I usually hang on to my card and go down about halfway with my heat gun, and then, because I don't want to get burned, I go ahead and I switch it. Remember, when you heat set, you don't need to move your heat gun around in circles or anything. You just need to, you can see that where it's heating and it's turning your sparkly color, and you can just move your gun as you need to in order to get the rest of it. And you can, of course, heat from the back of your cardstock as well, but I've always heated from the front, so I've always had good results, so that's just what I do. So this one is now heat set, and now if I put them side by side, you can definitely see the difference between the two. The one on the left has our pan pastels, and the one on the right doesn't have any coloring behind it, just simply the white embossing powder. So that's how you can do either one, and both of them can be used for cards. I'm going to take my blue and fold it in half, and of course this is 4 1/4 by 11. Crease it with my crease tool. And I'm going to use the one that we use the pan pastels on. So I'm going to turn it over, and I am going to go ahead and put it down flat because I will pop up my trading card onto the front of this. And of course I have several layers here, so it's going to be rather heavy. And I do want to make sure this is all going to stay down fine. And of course I'm using our terrible tape, the one that rips, and my bloom tool to make sure that where I want to peel it off at, it's going to peel off okay. The other thing I like about the tape is if you go over just a little bit, you can fold it back and it will stick and not hurt anything at all. So now I'm going to put this piece, center it on the front of my card base. And there's my card base. Now I'm taking the little trading card that I made, and I'm going to turn it over. And on the back of it, I am going to use our larger foam squares. And I'm putting one in each corner and one in the middle. So when you get trading cards and you don't know really what to do with them, simply look at what color cardstock has been used and what the design is, and go into your stash that you have and make a card front. This is one of the reasons why I like our full stamp set that you can do the whole front with. And so on this one, I'm going to put it right there so that I can see some of my little fish on each side here, and I can see the waves, and there's a Snappy birthday card. Now, the other thing that I want to do with this one is I want to add to the little lobster. The little crab. And what I'm going to do is take our clear sparkle silk, all right? And I have it in one of my brushes, and I just shake it up when I want to use it, and I leave it in my brush. And then what I'm going to do is simply go over my little crab with it. And when I do, he's going to get all sparkly. Now, it may be hard to see. I'll hold it up, but it may be hard for you to see on the camera where it's at on here. But I'm doing all of his little feet, you know. He's got lots of little legs here and his little claws. And his entire body. So I'm not sure that you can see the glitter, but it is shiny. And it just adds that little extra. You could also, of course, use our Journey glaze if you wanted to, but in this one I just used our Silk Sparkle because it's so pretty and it's something new in the new catalog. So I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have any questions, you can reach me. You can go to my website at www.funstampersjourney.com/angelhugs.